Okay, let's start with why are you running for this position?
Well, I think I've always had an interest in um, the rights of others. I Before I came to UCL, I interned for Amnesty International for like 3 months in Malaysia, and I think coming from Malaysia, you come from you experience lots of social injustices. You know, Malaysia's a great country, and I advocate traveling there and I advocate living there. It's a beautiful country. I'm very proud of my nation, but you definitely see social injustices. So especially because I'm an ethnic minority over there, I felt the need throughout my life to kind of represent others and fight for the rights of others. So that's always been something I've been very passionate about, human rights and diversity rights. But I unfortunately don't think I got myself involved with UCL activities regarding welfare, and now is my chance. So I'm taking a step towards welfare.
I just want to talk about some manifesto points. Firstly, you talk about counselling services and things that promote like mental health. So let us know a bit more about that.
I think the one thing that happened, why I'm so, the aim of one of the biggest aims of the UCL Union is to act as a strong support body for its students. And I was very shocked because in my first year I was going through quite a rough time, and I was not in a good place, and something happened, and I requested for mental health aid, and I had no response, none. And I think that's just shocking, because whether you like it or not, being a student, being at university, and finding your place in life takes its toll mentally and physically. And it is the job of the union to act as a strong support system for its students. I think that's just one of the biggest priorities, and it was very shocking that in my first year I didn't get that help. So if I do get this position, it will be like, of course politics and everything is really important, but one of my main priorities will be to make sure that the union is always there for its students with physical, mental and financial, in terms of the physical, financial and mental issues.
Cool. In terms of the financial news issues, you talk about providing financial advice, ensuring people know their rights. How would you do that better than has been done so far? Because obviously the union does have guidelines, they just may not be well publicised enough.
The Rights and Advice Centre is a great place for you to get involved in, and for you to access good health. But I think the issue with the union and the issue with the Rights and Advice is that it's not, it needs to be revitalized, I think, and it needs to be more accessible. I think it's very hard for the average student to approach the union and to approach Rights and Advice and ask for help. So I think it's very important to package Rights and Advice and package the union in a way that is accessible and friendly and approachable to students who have issues.
Then you go on to talk about diversity and equality. How would you aim to liaise with other officers, particularly the liberation officers, to make sure that everyone's welfare is looked after? Are there any specific initiatives that you would like to look at?
I think London is an amazing place. I think it's a beautiful city, and I think that's one of the biggest the biggest kind of cultural shocks that I experienced living from Holland, from coming here, because you're exposed to so many different kinds of people. And quite honestly, I'm very happy with our liberation with efforts in terms of LGBT rights, BME rights, women's rights. You know, we have a strong support system for to safeguard diversity and promote equal representation. I think if I get the position, this will be one of my most fun jobs. I think working with the 4 liberation networks, or 5 liberation networks, I think it is, constantly would be such a pleasurable thing to do, and just to like make sure that they constantly are in the eyes of the student, of the student body, and that we constantly put out campaigns and publicity, because I think that's gonna be fun. I think I really don't want to fix something that's not broken, because I really do honestly think that the university has a very strong and very sturdy equality platform, and I would like to maintain that.
Would you support a full-time LGBT plus officer and a disabled officer?
I was talking to Tom Rowlands about this, who is the current LGBT officer, and obviously there have been issues with the memorandum that he's put forth. I think it is quite. I think an LGBT officer and a disabled officer would be very beneficial for the union. Obviously, I do realise that there are financial aspects to that, and we'd have to look at the financial aspects of that of that potential position. But yeah, if it's financially feasible, I think there's a lot that an LGBT officer and a disabled officer could do for the union.
Excellent. And then you also talk about working with clubs and societies. What do you think needs to be improved there?
I directed the Wild Party at the Bloomsbury Theatre this December. And we had one black character, one African American character to cast. And it was ridiculous that we only had one African American male audition for our shows. I think that's ridiculous. We are in one of the most diverse global universities, and the level of misrepresentation and inequality in clubs and societies is quite shocking. That is something that is not something that we can't improve. It's obviously something we can improve, and no one has done it. So as a welfare and international officer, I will definitely liaise with the student activities officer, whoever gets the position, to ensure that clubs and societies constantly have an equal representation of, sexual orientations, races, religion, etc.
Then we go on to supporting international students. I suppose this is based off your own experience. Can you sort of tell us about that and how you would have improved it? Or I guess sort of like about how you would improve the transition period for international students is what I mean.
Okay. Being an international student is so hard. It is one of the most difficult things to do. And I think, quite frankly, I can say that I'm a good example of a well-assimilated international student. But I know I'm not. I know there are a lot of people, a lot of international students, friends included, that find it really hard. London's such an easy place to get lost in. And I think the union should have the responsibility to make international students feel as comfortable as they can, financially, socially, with student activities. And what I would do, so obviously we have International Student Orientation Week, which is the week before Freshers Week, and I'll place a strong emphasis on not just clubbing nights out, because I remember my ISOP week being very clubbing oriented. I would like to make sure ISOP is more wholesome and more all-rounded, and I'll try to make sure that international students get involved with student activities as much as they can. Like, I mean, Becky, you do musical theatre with me. There are not many international students who do theatre with us, and that's just sad. And it's not as though the talent isn't there. There are international students with huge amounts of talents that just get lost in the London scene. So I'll try to make them feel as comfortable as I can. And obviously, the role of welfare officer is to be a friendly person that international students can talk to, and I think I would be as approachable as I can.
You want to work on making Erasmus students feel more comfortable. How would you do that?
That's a really hard question, because I do not know how it feels to be an Erasmus student.
Okay.
I'll definitely have to talk to more Erasmus students about this. I'm currently in a play with an Erasmus student. I'll talk to her about it right now. But I think, obviously, with clubs and societies, it's really hard to get involved with activities because you're only here for such a short amount of time. And for example, tryouts and auditions are like the term before when you arrive in term 2. So I'll try to fix those things, because I think those kind of logistic things can be fixed with student activities and Erasmus students. But also, I would like to host like weekly or like fortnightly meetings where Erasmus students can just kind of hang out socially, and form like an Erasmus network. That idea has been in my head, because then people can visit England together as much as they like.